manages the book art studio at Mills College. She recently made the book Garbage Research 1, Hoarders and Those Resembling Hoarders, with Greg Turner, using letterpress, collage, and photocopy. She has recent writing work published in Drift and Mrs. Maybe, Work, and Try, and she does readings and presentations throughout the Bay Area. She teaches letterpress courses at San Francisco Center for the Book and Naropa University's summer writing program. And she also publishes No No Press using found paper only. Please welcome Lara Durback.
I will be so grateful if this computer works, and it looks like it's going to, because it's been a long ride today. So I'm going to start by, I'm going to show some collaborative works, all book arty type works, but all different collaborative works that, starting with the Broadside series. Oh. It worked a minute ago, so I am going to just go to the website. Okay, so I'm going to start with the boring one. And basically, the Contemporary Writers Series at Mills, there are a bunch of poets that come and do read, and book art kind of accosts them and tries to get them to let us do a printing project with them. So Kenneth Goldsmith, this is his one of his projects. He wouldn't be mad that I was saying it's boring because he likes that. So the top corner, we had a list of all of the measurements of books, of editions of Tristram Shandy that were in Shandy Hall somewhere in England, and he had measured each of them and then placed the position of the page in which the character dies, where there is a black square on the page to symbolize the death of that character. He kind of, there's a white outline that you can't really see on the picture there, but it shows the shape of the page as related to the black square. Well, in this version, French version, the editor decided to put Alas Poor Ulrich in French in lieu of this black square, which is kind of this iconic black square. And and basically it's just this, and then it has, let's see, oops. Or maybe it'll do next. The back matter. So it's kind of like this useless object that there's all the, let me see here. I'll show more. So the back just has all the biographical details about each book. So this is kind of like about archiving in some way. It's kind of like about, there's these giant trading cards, then they become, so here's black square number 1. On this page, here's another one that is a slightly smaller version, and it covers that much of the page. Or there's this one that is, someone decided to make it look a little more like a tombstone. So that was one of the projects, which was, something sort of about archiving. And then if I go back, it's hilarious because we only have one version up on here because no one, it's just like such a kind of confusing project that everyone's like, what? And I just see them as being these giant trading cards, each representing a book. Like, that's somewhere. It's kind of like a giant card catalog card or something like that. Oh, my goodness. What did I just do? Oops. It's just hard because I'm like looking up here and looking down there. Okay. And another one is this, and that previous one, it was done with printer Greer Gaynor, and we were so angry about that project the whole time we were working on it. And then it kind of like became this thing that we loved just because it had such a huge story around it and such a huge like emailing around the Black Pages around Tristram Shandy. So if you don't know that novel, you should look it up, and it has like all this really interesting graphic components to it that, you know, were just being included, and then like to think how they kind of went through time to, you know, be represented as an editor wanted to do them. This one here is with Mark Nowak. He documents coal mining accidents throughout the U.S. and beyond, and I printed this one for him to kind of represent the different areas around the sections of his book, Coal Mountain Elementary. And there's a little news story in there from China about the cover-up of deaths of miners. That's the top section. And then there's, the book also includes photography. His collaborator, I can't remember his name right now, but the photographs, like it just has the mining safety in there. And then the third component of the book, the other third, is all lessons from the coal industry that were given to teachers to teach them about coal mining in a very kind of cleaned up kind of way. So you'll see the coal mining lesson there. Explain that the mining industry, like any other business, faces challenges to make itself profitable. To understand some of these challenges, students will attempt to conduct a profitable mining business in an experiment that requires them to mine the coal chips from chocolate chip cookies. And there's a different version of that. It's just really hard to see because the way that the screen kind of cuts off here. I'm trying to see if, oh well. There's another version, and I have copies of all these up here if you want to see them afterward, but I think I'll click on something else. Mimi Bursenbrugge was another one who was here, and I did this with Katie Knox and Maggie Coggins, who are alums in the program now. And what we did was, when you make polymer plates, that's like one of the processes we use to make these. These are all done mostly with polymer plates that we make here, which are kind of the interface between letterpress and film. But, and then lead type, so this is all set letter by letter. And then the New Boys is in wood type. But the things that kind of look like stones, what they are is the scraps left over from the polymer plates. And then we created these sort of made-up films that we just printed out on a LaserJet printer. And so they're blurry, you can't really see them on there at all. I'm not sure, from my perspective, you can't see anything. But when you look up really closely, you can see images of protests, images of Billy Idol was in there for some reason because someone picked him as a boy. But just kind of referring to what Mimi had written about. And each of these projects are interesting because the, you know, sometimes the author wants to really be involved with the process, and sometimes they really just want to let it go. They don't want to see the proofs. So these are just examples of different things that happened. And other than that, I'm going to show a little bit. Another collaboration that I work on is with Stephanie Young on Deep Oakland. It's a website that just documents all different kinds of things about Oakland, from things from the Oakland History Room. I mean, I'll just show you on here. But we just basically, let me see if this one works. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that because it was working when I tested it before, but I'll just go and type it in. And I'm going to read a little bit from this. So we're doing a collaboration with this magazine, Drift, where different people will be reading the website in different ways. And it has this really excellent, let me see here, this really excellent viewer on it. And then once I get it to the right kind of, oops, that's a good size, I think. You can kind of flip through it. And I'm going to go down to, into the middle to my piece. It does show the other pages, but there, okay, I got to it. So this type of PDF that they made is really cool because the links work within it. So it's really good for like having other people read a website, and then you can refer back and forth to the links that you have in here. But I guess I will just read a little of this and click on links as I go through it. I'm following what someone else told me to do for a minute. That makes it easier for me to do what I need to do. I have a direction, so then I know where I depart. I love rules. Someone else chose this as a starting point. And we're doing a lot of things where we're playing games, so someone else had given me this to start with, this link. Soundwalk 1, Hidden Creeks and Streams by Hugh Livingston. So click on it right in here, and it'll go to that. And so it just gives here, there's maps of underground streams in Oakland. There's a sound walk that goes with it. But I'll just show you that, and then I'll go back to the page. This was the headwaters of what is now called Cemetery Creek, almost all of which is underground. The 3 reservoirs are used by the cemetery to manage irrigation, and the creek then flows underground out to Piedmont Avenue, and from there directly down to the corner of Lake Merritt, where it emerges in front of the new cathedral. Only a small portion of this creek is visible behind the flower shop on Piedmont Ave, or entering from Piedmont Court around the corner. I wonder, and that was a quote from the soundbite, which was in the link. I wonder if the water flowing under Piedmont Ave is the reason why fire shot out of a manhole earlier in the fall. Sort of like when it's raining and I tend to hear more fire trucks. I checked my records. It was October 6th, 2011. It's full size again. So this kind of skips over. This is a grave rubbing, and a lot of what this is talking about is Mountain View Cemetery in Oakland, which is kind of like a museum. And you can go hiking there, and you can see 12 turkeys running around together at once, and it's unbelievable. And that was a grave rubbing, which I was kind of drawn to that day, and it said, "Oh, for the touch of the vanished hand and the sound of the voice that is still." And then I Googled it, and it was a Tennyson poem, which is about water, which is about the ocean, and the whole piece ended up sort of being about water, so that was kind of magic. I want to see the part of the creek near the flower shop and understand what direction it's flowing, so I'll go there. First, I attempt to put the Soundwalk MP3 from Deep Oakland onto an iTouch. It came with my computer. I barely use it. It is not a direct walking tour. No, go here and see that. Really more the history of the entire place, piece by piece, attempted, plants, animals, how it was planned, fading in and out with water sounds recorded at the Mountain View Cemetery. I actually never turn on the iTouch after I leave the house. I do rubbings of graves. At a particular grave, I'm halfway through the rubbing when 2 happy dogs approach me. Then I stand up when I'm done, and I notice a little snail on top of the gravestone. The grave marker is an open book made of stone. The sun is coming up behind me. There was a gate around the entire parking lot of the flower shop. And later, I'm going to add that we found a way to get through the gate and to get back and to see the part of the creek. So that was very exciting. And also the background here is, the link didn't get added in yet, but it's another alteration that we need to make to it, is that that book is a book about the gate around Mills College that is by an alum named William Gadlian. So that is also on Deep Oakland. And then I'm going to skip, let me see, okay. The city map was drawn to 14th Street, and that was Oakland. So at the time the cemetery was founded, it was kind of out of town, said the docent from Mountain View Cemetery. It still is. The water sounds at the end of the recording drift to another place. I think the sounds are from the small waterfalls directly to the left of the gate as you enter the cemetery. There were frogs, but when I went close, they were quiet. I think about how since October 10th, 2011, Oakland existed to me in a new way, only up to 14th Street, too. The space renamed Oscar Grant Plaza. This place cracked a city's consciousness about what could explode in a snoozy downtown area. So it's as if I live out of town, though I'm just on the other side of MacArthur Boulevard from downtown. I had 2 homes for a while. The orange plastic key cover to my house key broke off on October 10th. The concept of home was loosening. This doesn't seem that long ago. Quote, on the 2nd day in February 1848, the United States acquired California and other territory from the Mexican government, unquote. from Oakland's Early History by Edson F. Adams. So is it hard to believe the borders are changing now? It's not so strange. They are. And that link, which I won't click on, which is over here, is just it's from the Oakland History Room, and it's just an early essay about Oakland. I know something about electricity and water from how many times I have dropped my phone in water. It goes crazy, flickers, dials randomly, buttons discharge, and then you put it in rice, and the water is sucked out, and it begins to work again. I'm going to skip some of that. And then this is kind of aligning how the Black Panthers were giving political education classes in Oakland, and then it was still happening now in Oscar Grant Plaza. It was just, nice to see that. I came across this interview on Deep Oakland. That's basically just the text of the interview, which you can find on there. And if you go to this online, this all works. It's not just a magic trick I'm doing up here. And, okay, let's see. People used to plan everything according to dowsing, moving the water underground in mysterious ways, where to build buildings. It is a purposefully winding path as a reader to navigate Deep Oakland. As an editor, I intimately know the back end of the website. Each blip in the crisp image of the website I want to fidget with, fix, make better, improve tags. I add tags Field Recording and Glen Echo Creek to the Hidden Creeks and Streams project, then realize Jess Haney's lovely contributions to this project that I have been searching for are still not posted, though I wanted them to be months ago. I make edits to the district and neighborhood and address labels on her photos of the creeks from changes suggested a year and a half ago. And so, click on that, and then you can see, there's Jess in a funny outfit, but this is one of the places where it comes out, like somewhere near the freeway, and then I updated all the specific, Deep Oakland has these specific addresses and tries to be as much as possible. And I'll just make this big again. It's really weird how it does that. Okay. There are people I've promised things, people I want to honor on the site by showing their work, and it has a feeling of never done. But that is wonderful, too. It is always falling short. And so what can you do but peck away? Wait. I'm supposed to be reading. The image files shuffle in the directory every time I click on them. This is intentional. The site tests patience, denies convenience, has no search field. This is intentional. As a reader, I could group things by address or neighborhood by clicking on them, but I usually won't. The author is not primary. You have to go through other groupings or about people to begin looking for authors. And I'm going to skip forward a little bit more. This is just the last page. That Vimeo that it's pointing to is it's a video of a painting of my house, and it kind of explains this, one of my previous houses. How odd it was that Heather put that painting of the house she and I lived in out in Joaquin Miller Park, as if the house needed to go there. It was this incongruous dollhouse painted thing in our old neighborhood. Some called the neighborhood China Hill. Once I saw a flyer that called the neighborhood Lower Park, over there by the Parkway Theater. About 20 people lived in that house at the same time in 4 different apartments, but it gave people the impression that we were rich. The big gate and the fact that our landlord inexplicably installed fake cameras. The sweet Mexican family below us that had huge parties with the moon bounce in the backyard. The grandmother was mugged outside of the house at gunpoint. And other things happened to others of us. I had panic attacks, hallucinations of people's faces changing to others' faces in the street, huge fears, but I won't mention it again. I have a lot of choices about where to live. Some folks may not have as many choices. I could have chosen to isolate and to hate and to isolate more because of events that happened. I've seen friends and family members choose that. And then, a view from one of the windows in the house. Look. Oh, so I was... Oh, you have to click on the middle. So this is one of the videos, which I don't know if it's going to load, but it's not, I'm not going to play. The whole thing. I think I'm going to go back because it's going to take too long to get to it, but maybe I will just click on the other painting. And that was the painting of the house. Oops. And I don't think, like, the sound's not going to work, but she, strangely, this is where she put the painting into the, you know, into Joaquin Miller Park for, I don't know why, but, and then there's music and stuff. I'm just going to let it play in the background. I'm just going to read the very end. Oops. I haven't looked at these videos, these paintings in a few years. Hard to think about what that time was. How did she get a bird in the final scene of the video, all blurry and close, watching her watch the painting through the camera? I'm dreamy and moody. I hope I have moved towards systemic thinking, analysis of how I might illuminate a system and be outside, much more satisfying and electrifying and beautiful than being cooped up in a house. Though I have gratitude for that place or any warm place I've ever had to live in. I've argued with people who said Oscar Grant was a thug, and why would I march in solidarity? I've argued with people who told me I should stay away, stay away, stay away. The greatest joy, it seems, is the times when I did not stay away, when I opened up, when I got smarter by immersion. I want to know what the water is, below. Or it could be sometimes fire, exploding from beneath the ground, not easy to define, not easy to track down.